Morning. Thank you for joining me. Welcome back. It's just dawning. It's 6:10. Up for 20 minutes or so. Just waiting for the sun to come up. I like to start the day quite quietly. Say a little prayer to my Father, and unusually for me, I'll be praying to Jesus today. I don't normally pray to Jesus. Jesus is, for me, I talk directly to my Father. Thank him for another lovely day, every day. And often will tell him my plans for the day. And I do say, if you want to give God a laugh, tell him your plans, because most days never turn out the way you plan them. But it's nice to have a plan. I generally get a lot more done that way. So today I always just start with the weather report, just in case he doesn't know. So thank you for a lovely day, Father, and it's raining, or it's misty, or it looks like it's sunny. It might be a nice day, a bit chilly. I don't know why. It's just an affectation of mine. It just breaks the ice. We like to talk about the weather, don't we? We're English. Not British. English. Well, half English, half Irish. Born in England, though. Real English. With Irish flavouring. Little sprinkle of bog trotter. I do like potatoes. Today I'll be asking Jesus for me is for requests. That's the if you think of him as a DJ, special requests. I'll often ask him to pray for people I know who are suffering, whether illness through ill health or struggling to cope financially or struggling to cope spiritually or mentally. So I often remember my mother in those ones who's been suffering now with Alzheimer's for 10 years. She's bedridden at home, has been in that bed now for 2 or 3 years, maybe, certainly 2. And she's on end of life care with morphine and midazolam and carers in several times a day. But she always looked after herself, you see. She's kept very fit all her life, very active. Worked for the NHS catering for over 3 decades and was on her feet pretty much all the time, worked long hours. And then had to come home and look after my brother and I and my father, who was of the old school, worked very hard himself, very long hours, often 12-hour days, 6 days a week. So didn't do a great deal around the home. Men of his generation weren't expected to, and he did maintain that he had an allergy to washing up liquids, so he couldn't wash up. But it was never really tested. It was just his claim. He never did a lick of washing up. My brother and I did most of the sort of things like taking out rubbish, the blue jobs. My mother did the rest, and she did the rest, as well as working very hard herself. So I'll be praying for her to Jesus that she's comfortable. I don't think she's in any pain. She's on morphine. As I say, it's hard to tell. She spends 95% of her day asleep. It's just a terrible condition. Any of the Alzheimer's, dementia type conditions. It's as though your loved ones, already been taken from you. It's just the body that survives. And as I say, she went to the gym several times a week. Ate well, we all did. No convenience food in our house. Never saw a frozen pizza till I left home, or a pizza at all for that matter. She did have some ornamental pasta, different coloured and shaped pastas in a glass jar on the windowsill, which remained there throughout my childhood. We never ate this stuff. Meat and 2 veg every day. Homemade shepherd's pie, homemade pies, lovely food. As a result, it wasn't organic vegetables. It was just vegetables then. We didn't have to specify because it wasn't quite so much of the contamination from spraying. So I'll be praying for her that she's comfortable. And I do know a couple of other people who are going through significant change in their lives at the moment and they're struggling a bit. So I'll pray that he gives them some succor, support. We're getting on with hedging today. I've got some dead hedging to lay, which is where you take branches that have been removed. We've formatively pruned last year quite a lot of the trees on the burial ground and raised them. It's time. I've been itching to do it for years, but now it's 17 years. It's time to give them a bit of a clean. It really has improved things a lot. I can thank Elise, who's just left, for sterling work on that. She's dragged all the branches up. She worked really hard. They've been littering the car park for a while, and I now need to form them into a dead hedge, which is spectacular habitat for lots of things, invertebrates all the way up to birds, especially now with nesting season. It's time to get that moved so no birds start nesting in the brush where it is, and when I've got it moved and prepped, they'll be much more dense and they'll be safe from predators such as my cats, who don't generally get birds. That's why I keep my cats particularly fat. They can't get the birds, they stick to the rodents, voles, through the mice, occasionally a baby rat, which is handy because we do have a problem occasionally. I'm not going to touch the laid hedge, the one that we laid last year. It's looking really good. It's growing back, and it even put on some late season growth last year. So that extension wood now can really shoot quite well this year and get quite a lot of leaf cover, and I'll set it at the final desired height and let it bulk up over the next few years. So I may even do a video with that on there. Hedge laying is a traditional technique for managing hedgerows, and it's so much better for the wildlife than constantly hedge cutting. I'll show you how to do that. It's quite good fun. You do need really stout gloves, particularly if you have thorns, and I'd put in quite a lot of Prunus spinosa, blackthorn, which is great for the berries and great for insects and everything. But these really sharp thorns, quite long, but they have a brittle tip that tends to break off in your hands. Even with the thickest gloves, you will get spiked, and quite often those from blackthorn, as its common name, those tips that break off, they've been used as a larder by spiders. So a spider will catch flies, and if they get too many, they'll put the fly on the thorn to store it and dry it for later eating. And of course, you're putting a dirty old fly's guts on the thorn, so then you come along, get the thorn in your finger, and it's covered in fly guts, and that's why they become infected, and they commonly break off as well. My ex-wife used to love it. I used to sit on the sofa and she'd grab a needle and spend a happy evening getting all the thorns out of my hands. I used to watch the TV. Happy days. Halcyon days. So that's what I'm on with for the morning. I've got a bit of drainage that I've put in last week to finish off, just a few wheelbarrow loads to take. It's probably 4 barrow loads, 100 metres each way, so I'll be covering 800 metres with a heavy wheelbarrow full of gravel, and just get that all tamped down, jumping up and down. My ribs do still hurt, but I've just taken a load of painkillers. They'll be kicking in shortly, and I'm just going to power on through. It seems to be working okay, and I just don't have time to stop at this time of year. It's very busy. The clock's ticking on, getting the trees planted, getting the hedges all prepared before the birds start nesting. So it's all hands to the pump this morning on that one. I spent quite a while in the Lincolnshire archives last week, doing a bit of research for a piece I'm writing on the priory that on the neighbouring land, and I'll be returning later in the week to the archives to take some photographs. I have to buy a permit, and you only last for a day, so I'll make sure I get all of my photographs done on one day, and I'll be hopefully trawling through the maps as well, hopefully getting the historical records. I may even have to go to the Catholic Church or the Bishop's Diocesan office and see if I can see what records they might hold that they may allow me to have a look at. It would be very, very helpful if they could. And ecclesiasticals tend to like historians and people trying to elucidate the history of the church up to a point, as long as it's not bringing the church into disrepute, which I have no intention of doing. Although I did have a nasty divorce with the Catholic Church when I was 15, as I've mentioned in a previous video. But if you ask politely, and you make them like you on a personal level, they will go out of their way to help you. Quite often they're bored, especially the older guys who are kind of just rattling around on their pension and no one's listened to their stories. You get some great stories from elder clergy. They'll often tell you things they wouldn't tell a larger congregation. So may have a chance to get out on the bike later on and just do a bit more of a recce and see what I can see in the landscape. So I've found a couple of things whilst I've been riding around that are going to give me clues, especially when I hit the maps and get some waymarks and landmarks. I can tie it, because often the maps were a bit vague. You know, they didn't have drones, they didn't have satellites, and often they were done on the grounds and paced out. So often the medieval maps are a little bit vague, and it can take you a while to figure out where is where. So watercourse is particularly good, as are footpaths to give you markers. But often the tree cover and that kind of thing is radically altered. The shape of woodlands and hedgerows have disappeared. We lost a lot of hedgerows in the 60s. Ponds have been filled in. And certain landscape features, very hard to detect. You find traces. So I'll do a bit of a scan round. There's a couple of things I want to check. There's a particular footpath, an entirely lost village that's mentioned in the records from 1531 that I was looking at last week, which is apparently very near to where I am. But it's a village called Brotherton, and it's no longer extant. It's gone. They've been a victim to the plague. So there should be some landscape features that I can figure out and detect where that lost village was, which could be quite an interesting archaeological find. Not a large settlement, but it's around here somewhere. That's it really, not a lot to report. So this is my morning routine. Tea and prayers, smoke a couple of fags. I sometimes have a glimpse on X or YouTube and see how the war's going. It's so much nice having these wars. I mean, the Gulf War was the first televised war. I remember watching that assiduously. I hate war, obviously. Really hate war. But it's also got a fascination. It's like when the Twin Towers came down. I couldn't stop watching it. And we had Molly at the time very young, and I was worried that she shouldn't be watching those images, but it was just so shocking. I just found myself attracted to it. I suppose that is why war films are popular. People are attracted to it. Believe me, if you've ever been to a war zone, like many soldiers, you don't want to talk about it or revisit it. Obviously, the Ukraine and Russian conflict, the special military operation there, has been the first sort of live action drone footage war, and that in itself has been extremely shocking and very upsetting. So I might just get a quick update on the world outside. I try not to get that involved in these things. Obviously, these are end times. There's going to be wars and rumours of wars, and I do feel a little bit dirty, but it's nice to keep abreast of where we are on the timeline. And finish my mug of tea, which is too hot to drink at the moment, but I'm using it to defrost my hands because overnight they get so cold. I often wear a hat while I'm doing this, but it's not too bad, so I'll just throw my jumper on and defrost a bit. A couple of hot cross buns, and then out for the morning, schlepping the wheelbarrow, moving timber. I may even process some of the thicker wood and bring that in and treat myself to a fire. I've been just using one bar on the gas fire in the evening. It's been a little bit chilly, even though I'm sat right on it. Even sat in front of the oven for a bit. That was nice. But I may light the fire tonight and treat myself to a nice wood fire on the wood burner. Feels a bit licentious in March to be burning firewood, and I'm totally out. So if I'm having to process them, because the thicker wood, it kind of gets in the way when you're dead hedging. So I may end up with a few logs that I'll bring up, just slice them up and treat myself to a fire this evening. Yeah, I might even make a shepherd's pie. I've got to wash up first because I'm pretty much out of everything. So this is all dependent on me getting my arse moving in the next half an hour and hitting the road running. Okay, road runner. Meep meep. And if I do get a chance later on, I might just take a little video and show you the hedgerow that we laid last year, which is looking very, very good. Starting to see all the green buds emerge now on the hawthorn and the blackthorn. There's also some rose in there. Oh I wish I hadn't put those in. Dog rose as well, really nasty. Rosa canam, as in canine tooth, because the thorns look like a canine tooth and are particularly sharp and nasty. Horrid stuff, but lovely flowers, and it's great for the butterflies. And after this year's growth, I've selected the final thing. Then I don't really have to get involved with it for a few years. I'll just have to give it a light trim to make sure it's back from the cars, because it does edge on the car park. I don't want anyone accusing me of scratching their car. Everyone seems to like cars that are unscratched. I don't think I've ever owned one. I've never had a new car, and I quite like buying the cars that look beaten up on the outside. No one steals them. And how much time do you spend looking at your bloody car from the outside? Who cares if it's got a fucking scratch in it? Does that affect it working as a machine? No. Might promote rust if you don't take care of it within 15 years, but time's on your side on that one, and by the time the bloody door's rusted through, trust me, ain't gonna be much left of a modern car, unlike my delightful Riley. I spent a bit of time on that yesterday. I was reading last night. So yeah, I've just got to check some hoses and order some new hoses for the hydroelastic suspension. Source the pump. My mate's got one. Just make sure he's digging it out for me. Get the hydroelastic fluid, which is green. It's alcohol and water and some some additives. And I can pump the suspension up. I can get underneath and have a proper look at what the state of the exhaust and everything is. Drain the oil, put fresh oil in, and put a new battery on, and the bugger should start. Happy days. Target is September the 13th, so I do have quite a lot of time to work on the car. Played with the motorbike yesterday a little bit. Discovered that it needs a new clutch cable, new clutch lever, new brake lever. All very expensive bits. I'm not sure I'm going to be bothered with, because the bike's not mine. I might have use of it, but if I'm going to spend untold hours and a couple £100 fixing it, I'm not sure I'm all that bothered. And stay the roads at the minute, I'm not sure I want to be on two wheels anyway. I think I'd rather just take the bus through the summer and get the car on the road. But I might end up doing it if I have a bit of spare time in the summer. It's nice to work, and in the summer I can work till sort of 9 or 10 o'clock at night and something like that. Just start the beer keg fire, and you don't need the lights, so I can work longer hours. It's the only thing that's holding me up at the moment is we're still only getting short days. Really, I should get going now because there is sunshine. Well, not sunshine, but there's daylight. It's 6:30, so I better not spend any more time wasting your time. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Thank you for joining me. May catch you later, but if not, on the flip flop. Cheers.